Peace and love, black family. Peace and love, black family. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, King-Kong-Consciousness, Intercontinental Ifatunde, the notorious RBG. Good evening to everyone on this spring equinox. Today, early this morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, unfortunately I missed it, but the spring equinox came in, and today is officially the first day of spring. That means Leo season is only about 5 months away, brothers and sisters. I wanted to let everybody know, especially my Delaware family, Pennsylvania family, and New Jersey family, that I will be in Camden, New Jersey tomorrow. I repeat, DR.UMAR Ifatunde will be in Camden, New Jersey tomorrow at the Black-owned Lie Unique bookstore, Camden, New Jersey tomorrow, right over the Ben Franklin Bridge at the Lie Unique bookstore. Okay, Lie Unique, which I believe is 111 North 6th Street or 5th Street. I think it's 6th Street, but you can Google it. Lie Unique, LA space, UNIQUE. I will be there to release in South Jersey the new book, 500 plus pages, Black Parent Advocate. We already did the North Jersey book release. We already did the North Jersey book release at the Source of Knowledge bookstore back in November. So it's been December, January, February, March. It's been 4 months since we released this book in North Jersey. Shout out to Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to Source of Knowledge bookstore. So tomorrow, Sunday, Sunday, the 21st, I believe it is, of March, we will be releasing the book in Camden, New Jersey. Yes, today is the 20th, tomorrow is the 21st, yes. So tomorrow, Sunday the 21st, we will be releasing the book in Camden, New Jersey. Since tomorrow is March the 21st, that means April, May, June, July. We have 5 months until the Nat Turner Revolutionary War celebration. I'm hoping all of you will join me in Nat Turner Land, Virginia, August the 21st of 2021 to celebrate the greatest black revolutionary and the greatest black revolutionary uprising in American African history. So the countdown to Nat Turner, 5 months, begins tomorrow. But I will be there tomorrow from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock. 6 hours. Come on through. For my Philadelphia family, many of you were not able to come to the book signing in West Philadelphia, which I believe was last month because of the snowstorm. So for my Philadelphia family, if you still don't have the book, take a trip across the bridge. It's only 5 minutes from Center City, Philadelphia, to get to the Lie Unique bookstore in Camden, New Jersey, right near the Camden riverfront. I mean, it's right over the bridge. Come and support the black bookstore. Not only can you get my book, Baba Larry, who's the owner of the Lie Unique bookstore in Camden, New Jersey, he has one of the best collections of black books I've seen. He has one of the best collections of black books I've seen. So does Source of Knowledge bookstore. And of course, Source of Knowledge has a much larger selection because they're a much larger store. But do not sleep on Baba Larry and Lie Unique. He packs a very powerful punch when it comes to books. So if you guys want to support a black bookstore, if you guys want to come out and buy some black books, some good black books, Baba Larry has a very good eye for excellent African literature. He has a very good eye for excellent African literature. As someone who goes to black bookstores all around the country and all around the world, I always evaluate the quality of the books that that particular black bookstore is ordering. And Lie Unique, they do an excellent job of selecting from the finest of black literature. So you might want to come. Some of you never knew that there was a black-owned bookstore in South Jersey. Some of you never knew that there was a black-owned bookstore in Camden, New Jersey. So you can come on out tomorrow from 2 o'clock till 8. It will also be a special ed drop-in clinic. It will also be a special education drop-in clinic. So if any of you have questions about your children, you can come out tomorrow, bring the psychological report, bring the IEP. I will take a few minutes and go through your paperwork with you. So Willingboro, New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey, all the way up to Rutgers. I forget all my South Jersey cities. Delaware, come through. Philadelphia, come through. Anybody who wants to come on through, Camden, New Jersey, 2 to 8, meet and greet with the Prince of Pan-Africanism. That's tomorrow, 2 to 8. And then I will be in Middletown, Connecticut on Saturday. 1 week from today, I will be in Middletown, Connecticut at the Free Space. We will no longer be doing the Black Parent Training in Connecticut next Saturday, but we will be doing the book signing in Connecticut next Saturday. I repeat, we will no longer be doing the Black Parent Training in Hamden, Connecticut next Saturday. Instead, we will be doing the Black Parent Advocate book release in Connecticut. We will be moving from Hamden to Middletown. I repeat, we will be moving from Hamden to Middletown. The book signing Saturday, March the 27th, will be in Middletown, Connecticut at the Free Space. My first time in Middletown, Connecticut. And then the next day, Providence, Rhode Island on Sunday, March the 28th. Providence, Rhode Island on Sunday, March the 28th for the book release. And then the New England Black Parent Boot Camp, the 12-hour intensive Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp, will be in Boston, Massachusetts on Saturday, April the 10th. Mark your calendar. Boston, Massachusetts. 3 weeks to go. There's only 3 weeks to go. Only 50 people can register. So if you live in Connecticut, if you live in Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, upstate New York, if you need that Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp, go to DrUmarJohnson.com right now and register. Only 50 seats. Only 50 seats because of COVID and social distancing. Only 50 seats. So if you want to be one of those 50 New Hampshire parents, Rhode Island parents, Vermont parents, Connecticut parents, upstate New York parents, Massachusetts parents, go to DrUmarJohnson.com and register. All of your paperwork and your catered lunch is included. Paperwork, lunch, refreshments, all of that is included. We start at 8 in the morning and we go to 8 at night. We start at 8 in the morning and we go to 8 at night. We start at 8 in the morning in Boston, Massachusetts, Saturday, April the 10th, and we go until 8 at night. We will take some breaks, but it is intense. You must show up by 10 o'clock or you will not be allowed in. If you show up after 10 a.m., you will not be allowed in. Let me say it one more time. If you show up in Boston, Massachusetts for the Black Parent Boot Camp after 10 a.m., you will not be allowed in. You would have already missed 2 hours of the training, and I cannot let you in after that. So please be on time. No children, okay? And no friends. If you're not registered, you don't come in there. Don't bring your cousins, your friends, your aunties, unless they are registered and are there to get the training. You don't need seats for Camden. Camden is a book signing. You don't need tickets for a book signing. You just show up. You don't need tickets for a book signing. You just show up, brothers and sisters. You don't need tickets for a book signing. You just show up to the book signing. Camden is a book signing. Middletown, Connecticut next Saturday is a book signing. Providence, Rhode Island next Sunday is a book signing. You don't need tickets for a book signing. You just show up. But if you want to come to the Black Parent Boot Camp in Boston, you need tickets. I will also be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Friday, May the 14th. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, 100th Centennial. 100 years, the centennial of Black Wall Street. I will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, speaking at 6:30 at the Greenwood Center on Friday, May the 14th. And then I'm back to back California. back-to-back California, Saturday Oakland, Sunday Los Angeles, Saturday May 15th Oakland, Sunday May 16th Los Angeles, Saturday May 15th Oakland, Sunday May 16th Los Angeles, California. So that's what we're doing, brothers and sisters. Memphis, Tennessee, I got a book signing coming up for you. Palm Beach, Florida, I got a book signing coming up for you. That's what we're doing. What I want to do right now, in honor of tomorrow's book signing, what I want to do right now is I want to read from a couple of the letters that are included in Black Parent Advocate. So this book is divided into two parts. Part 1 is correspondence, and part 2 is paperwork. Part 1 teaches parents how to respond to some of the most critical and challenging issues that they face regarding their children. Okay? And part 2 is about understanding the paperwork that the school gives to you. Louisville, Kentucky, Marcus Garvey celebration, August the 14th. Louisville, Kentucky, Marcus Garvey celebration, August the 14th. Louisville, Kentucky, Marcus Garvey celebration, August the 14th. So as I open up the book, let's pick something. Okay, here's one. Requests to rescind the evaluation. Requests to rescind the evaluation. So in this chapter, I'm talking about a parent who has signed permission for their child to be evaluated. And then you decide later that you should have included to have your child evaluated. You sign permission for your child to be evaluated. A couple of weeks later, a couple of days later, because they have 60 days to evaluate the child. They have 60 days to evaluate the child. So, a couple of days or a couple of weeks later, you decide that you don't want to go forward with the eval. You want to stop it. You want to stop the evaluation process. You want to stop the evaluation cycle, brothers and sisters. Okay, we want to stop it. And so let's talk about it. So requests to rescind the evaluation. Many American African parents are unaware that they have the right to rescind their request for a psychoeducational evaluation, even after they sign permission to evaluate form. Not only do you have the right to rescind an evaluation, you can also have the school psychologist and/or evaluation team cease and desist from an evaluation that has already been initiated. To clarify, it is not a good idea to get into the habit of signing legal documents to only withdraw them later. However, given the extent of the deceptive manipulation that many public and charter schools use against naive Black parents, it is quite understandable that a parent may choose to rescind their request after finding out that their child should have never been considered for special education services in the first place. Moreover, parents often realize later that their child should have been considered for a 504 plan or merely a pre-referral academic intervention plan instead of a special education evaluation. Too often, parents feel that they have to follow the dictates of school staff and that they have to continue with the process even when they clearly disagree with what is happening. This assumption is incorrect, and parents must be absolutely clear that it is their consent that controls the evaluation process. Let me say that again. It is your consent that controls the evaluation process. Let me say it one more time. It is your consent that controls the evaluation process. Remember, when you grant permission for the school to test your child, you are consequently granting them the power to control the narrative concerning your child's academic or behavioral struggles. In essence, politically speaking, a secondary purpose of the psychoeducational evaluation process is to assign blame for a given academic concern. Until you sign the permission to evaluate form, you control the narrative regarding your child's struggles. Let me say that again. Until you sign the permission to evaluate form, you control the narrative regarding your child's struggles. Remember it again. Until you sign the permission to evaluate form, You control the narrative of your child's struggles. Once you sign that form, you now give the school the right to control the narrative. Controlling your child's school-based narrative is important because whoever controls the narrative controls the outcomes, the interventions, and the options for success. Let me say that again. Whoever controls the narrative controls the outcomes, the interventions, and the options for success. Bluntly speaking, the school psychological evaluation is the easy way out. Let me say that again. Bluntly speaking, the school psychological evaluation is the easy way out. It is the parent's job to employ a process of elimination towards determining what is at the core root of their child's academic or behavioral deficiencies. Relying on the school to do this for you is a form of child neglect. Did y'all hear what I said? I said relying on the school to decide why your child can't read is parental neglect. Depending on the school to decide why your child can't control his behavior is parental neglect. You do not give the United States prison preparation education system the right to control the narrative of your child's academic career. Why would the same people responsible for creating your child's academic challenges also be interested in helping them resolve deficits that they created? Most learning disability classifications are professional opinions. Did y'all hear that? Most learning disability classifications are professional opinions. And you shouldn't allow the opinion of another to outweigh your own regarding your children. And then I give you a sample letter. So you don't want to go forward with the evaluation. You want to rescind your request for the psychological evaluation. So, okay, I give you a letter. And that letter says, Dear Mr. Eisenhower, every letter in the book is directed to a prominent personality from white supremacist history. Every letter in this book is addressed to a prominent personality in the history of white supremacy. And every addressee in the letter is a prominent personality from revolutionary Pan-Africanist history. And every date of every letter inside of my new book is a date that is relevant in the history of African people and African liberation. Okay? I see we have a coon in the chat. Let me send him to the block party. It's cooning. And it's the first day of spring, so there's going to be more cooning. The letter says, Dear Mr. Eisenhower, I recently gave permission for my niece, for whom I serve as legal guardian, to be evaluated by your school psychologist at the request of the child study team to determine eligibility for special education services. After further investigation into this matter, I have decided to rescind my request. This letter serves as an official notice to have all psychoacademic assessments being conducted on my child discontinued immediately. I plan to obtain a professional tutor for my niece to help her improve her reading and math skills. My niece attended an elementary school for the past 3 years that had not qualified for annual yearly progress for 4 consecutive years. That school was also ranked amongst the worst in the entire state. I do not believe that my niece has a learning disability. Rather, I believe her deficits to be the result of inadequate and subpar learning opportunities at her previous school. I am disheartened that your child study team would have such a low estimation and commitment to my niece that you would recommend testing after only having had her in your school for 3 months. If at any time during the future, based upon my own observations and consultation with outside professionals, that I should change my opinion about my niece's challenges, I will not hesitate to make a request for a psychoeducational evaluation. I further ask that your school team cease from initiating conversations with me regarding special ed. Did y'all hear that? I further request that your school team cease from initiating conversations with me regarding special education, as I am no longer interested in entertaining that option at the present time. I thank you in advance for your attention to this matter. Yours sincerely, John Edward Bruce. John Edward Bruce was an early Pan-Africanist who served with the Most Honorable Marcus Garvey in the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League. He also had links to Arthur Schomburg, and he also had links to some of the grandfathers of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism as well. As I said in this book, every letter is addressed to a white supremacist, and every letter is from a Pan-Africanist revolutionary, and every date is relevant. Let me do another one. Here we go. A request for an independent educational evaluation. Let's talk about the independent educational evaluation. For intellectual disability, right? Intellectual disability is formerly known as mental retardation. Intellectual disability is formerly known as mental retardation. So let's read this. Request for independent educational evaluation for an intellectual disability. Black boys in America are 4 times as likely as white boys to be classified with an intellectual disability. There are some clear reasons for this reality. A, most cognitive assessments used in the United States are culturally biased. They have long been criticized for appearing to be a more accurate measure of cultural familiarity and white middle-class experiences than they are a measure of a child's true intellectual ability. B, intelligence testing has its roots in the eugenics movement, which is a racist pseudoscientific approach to population control that posits that African people are intellectually inferior to the human family. As such, intelligence testing was brought to America to be used as a weapon of racial marginalization and social categorization. Historically, most United States prevented its citizens from getting married or having children if their intelligence scores fell beneath a certain threshold. In the aftermath of the landmark Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision 1954, which forced white racist school districts to accept African children, the mentally gifted movement took off by helping white students escape integrated classrooms under the sometimes false pretense that they were just too intelligent to learn in the same classrooms as black children. For these reasons and more, black parents should be very concerned whenever your child's school recommends that they be evaluated for a suspected intellectual disability. You should again be wary of any psychological evaluation that claims your child meets criteria as a student with an intellectual disability. To clarify, there are American African children who do in fact have intellectual disabilities. Moderate, severe, and profound intellectual disabilities are a very real phenomenon. Moderate, severe, and profound intellectual disabilities are real. It is with the mild intellectual disability that we have an issue. Given the inherent bias of intelligence tests, whenever a black child ends up with a score that is slightly within the deficient range of scores, parents should be very cautious towards accepting this determination as a fact. Add to this the fact that many children aren't particularly motivated or interested in taking intelligence tests to begin with. I would argue that at least 25 to 40% of the test score variance, particularly for unmotivated black children, could be attributed to academic personality factors, quote unquote, such as laziness and disinterest. If a parent knows they have a child who categorically underperforms, allowing that child to be evaluated for an intellectual disability can be a recipe for disaster. Did you hear what I just said, parents? If you know your child is lazy, If you know your child doesn't put forth sufficient effort when they are tested, why would you allow them to be tested for an intellectual disability? Please be mindful that tests do not classify or diagnose children. Professionals do the labeling, not tests. Whenever someone says that your child has met criteria for a particular disability, they are merely suggesting that your child has the characteristics of a certain disability as defined by the scientific community. However, meeting the criteria for disability and actually having the disability can be two totally different things. In other words, your son having an intellectually deficient score based upon a single performance on a culturally biased cognitive measure does not automatically mean he has an intellectual disability. It is critical that Black parents understand that an intelligence score alone is not sufficient to confirm a classification of intellectual disability. You cannot use an IQ score alone to rule a child in or out for intellectual disability. Stop letting the schools make you think the IQ score is enough to call your child retarded. Stop letting the schools think that an IQ score is enough to call your child retarded. Stop letting the schools brainwash you into thinking that an IQ score alone is enough to classify your child as retarded. We have some coons, or that might be a cave-dwelling organism. Is that a coon? Or is that a cave-dwelling organism? That might be a cave-dwelling. We have coons and we have some cave-dwelling organisms. Okay, we have some cave-dwelling organisms as well as some coons in the chat. According to federal special ed law, in addition to having an intellectually deficient score, the child must also demonstrate at least one major limitations in at least one major life skill area. These life skill areas include, but are not limited to, social skills, daily living skills, self-help skills, communication skills. In short, if your son or daughter doesn't demonstrate key deficits in critical life functioning areas, they cannot be classified as intellectually disabled. Remember, tests don't diagnose. People do. Did y'all hear me? Tests don't diagnose. People do. Did y'all hear me? Tests don't diagnose. People do. Always remind the team that their disability determination is a professional conclusion, not a scientific fact. Always remind your child's evaluation team that their disability determination was a professional opinion. It was not a scientific fact. Never hesitate to request an independent educational evaluation for your son or daughter whenever you feel that such a determination was incorrect. The intellectual disability, formerly known as mental retardation, is the most stigmatizing and demoralizing label that you can give a child. I have seen children misclassified with this label who were never able to psychologically recover from its impact, even after being told they were previously misclassified. This is also why I am not a proponent of parents and teachers sharing disability classifications with children. Okay? I am not a proponent of parents and teachers sharing disability classifications with children, particularly those of a subjective nature. Telling children they have a mild intellectual disability is of no academic or psychological benefit to your child. Did you hear what I just said? Why would you tell your child they have a reading disability? Why would you tell your child they have ADHD? Why would you tell your child they have a math disability? Why would you tell your child they're intellectually disabled? What benefit does your child receive being told that their mother or father had their coon chip activated by the school psychologist? What benefit is it to a Black child that their mother or father had their coon chip activated by the school principal, or their coon chip activated by the director of special education, or the coon chip activated by the special ed coordinator? You never tell a child that they're disabled. You never tell a child that they are disabled. You tell them they are differently abled. They are specially abled. You don't tell them they're disabled. They're already black in America. You're going to tell a black child in America who is already suffering from discrimination. You're going to tell a black child in America who already has to fight for everything they get. And you're going to tell them that they have a disability because somebody told you that. That is their opinion. It doesn't have to be your child's reality. That is their opinion. It doesn't have to be your child's reality. That is their opinion. It doesn't have to be your child's reality. You should always have a black psychologist. You should always have a black psychologist review your child's evaluation report whenever they are classified as intellectually disabled to assist you towards ascertaining if the right disability determination was made. In addition, requesting an independent educational evaluation and having it approved should occur swiftly, as any principal or director of special education can understand why a black parent will want a second opinion before moving forward with such a life-changing disability determination. Okay, now I'm going to read the sample letter. You see, I give you the background. I educate you on the topic, and then I give you the sample letter that you can recreate and send to the school, okay, to protect your child. So I give you the background to the problem, and then I give you the sample letter that you can use. Recreate the sample letter. Don't photocopy this. It doesn't have your name on it. Don't photocopy this. It doesn't have your child's school on it. Don't photocopy this. It doesn't have your child's principal listed. Okay? Don't photocopy this. All right? Recreate the letter, brothers and sisters. I want you to recreate the letter. All right? And if you need a copy of this book, come to Camden, New Jersey tomorrow. If you need a copy of this book, come to Camden, New Jersey tomorrow. 5 minutes from Center City, Philadelphia. I will be at the Black-owned La Unique Bookstore and Cultural Center. The Black-owned La Unique Bookstore and Cultural Center. 111 North 6th Street, Camden, New Jersey, 2 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Meet and greet with the Prince of Pan-Africanism. If you have paperwork and you want me to look at your child's paperwork, I will see you in Camden, New Jersey tomorrow. The book is $50 at the book signing, $60 on my website. The book is $50 at the book signing, $60 on the website, plus $10 shipping and handling. So if you come tomorrow, you get it for $50. If you order it on my website, DrUmarJohnson.com, you will pay $70. $50 in person, $70 through the mail. So let's read the letter. This is a sample letter that you can recreate and give to the school when you want an independent educational evaluation because they said your child was retarded and you don't believe them, okay? This is a sample letter. This is a sample letter. I don't know if that's a coon or a cave-dwelling organism. I don't know if that's a coon or a cave-dwelling organism. Let's read the sample letter. To Principal Arthur Jensen of the Dick Cheney Charter School for Human Rights Abuses, Slave Coal Drive, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Every state has their own letter. Every state, what I mean by that is I addressed every letter to a different state. Dear Mr. Jensen, and you should research who Arthur Jensen was. He was one of the fathers of white supremacy. The letter is addressed to him. And the letter is from Michael Brown. Rest in peace to Michael Brown of Ferguson, Missouri, who was assassinated by the police. He is the author of the letter. So Michael Brown writes to Principal Arthur Jensen of the Dick Cheney Charter School for Human Rights Abuses. And he says, Dear Mr. Jensen, I am writing this letter as an official request to meet with your school's child study and evaluation team to review and discuss concerns that I have related to the recent psychological evaluation that was completed for my younger sister. I am her legal guardian, and I initially gave consent for her to be evaluated because I thought that you all would be looking for potential learning disability concerns. I did not know that you would be evaluating for a possible intellectual disability classification. I am aware that when an evaluation is done, the results may yield a conclusion other than what a parent and the team may have initially suspected. However, I am in stark disagreement with this determination that my sister is mentally retarded. Although President Obama changed the terminology for this disability category, many educators and parents still recognize it as mental retardation. There are 3 specific questions I would like to have answered in our upcoming evaluation report review meeting. Number 1, the law requires that evidence of an adaptive behavior impairment as measured by a standardized assessment be used when determining the presence of an intellectual disability for education purposes. My sister has no such impairment, nor did your team conduct the necessary screening to determine if any adaptive deficits were present. Can you please explain why, although the law does not require that a full intellectual assessment battery be used for the purposes of determining an intellectual disability, I noticed in the report that your school psychologist only used a brief intelligence test. Brief intelligence test. What has Dr. Umar been teaching y'all about the brief intelligence test? Okay, he's been teaching you guys, never let the school use a brief intelligence test for your child. Never let the schools use a brief intelligence test for your child. Although the law does not require that a full intellectual assessment battery be used for the purposes of determining an intellectual disability, I noticed in the report that your school psychologist only used a brief intelligence test rather than the full test. I am wondering why a psychologist would use a mere brief assessment when making such a critical classification as intellectual disability for a young learner. I understand that when there is much scatter amongst the intellectual profile scores derived from testing, that is when there is extreme differences between index or composite scores. The overall IQ score cannot be considered as valid. In my review of the evaluation report, I noticed that there was significant scatter amongst my sister's cognitive index scores, with her verbal ability score being the lowest of them all. This means that the full scale intelligence quotient should never have been reported or at least clarified as being unreliable. It was upon this FSIQ derived from these inconsistent intellectual profile scores that your team decided to incorrectly classify my sister as intellectually disabled, thereby making her eligible for special education. Why did your school psychologist report these scores as being valid? I take this situation quite seriously, and it infuriates me that a black school principal would allow such an abuse of an American African child under his supervision. I am demanding an evaluation review meeting to discuss my concerns and to request an independent educational evaluation to have a correct and independent evaluation completed to properly determine my sister's needs. I am available any day of the week before 10 a.m. to meet and ask that all members of the evaluation team be present. If they cannot all be present, I suggest we choose a time in which they can all be there. I look forward to meeting with you and the evaluation team sometime soon. Sincerely, Michael Brown. If you are a black parent in America raising children in public school, charter school, and you don't have this book, you're not prepared for war. If you are a black parent raising black children in the United States of America, and you don't have this weapon of mass construction, if you do not have a copy of Black Parent Advocate, you are not prepared for war. You can only get this book from me. You can't get it on Amazon. Those are bootlegs. I am self-published. You can only get the book from me at a book signing tomorrow, Camden, New Jersey. Next Saturday, Middletown, Connecticut. Next Sunday, Providence, Rhode Island. April the 10th, Black Parent Boot Camp, Boston, Massachusetts. May the 14th, Tulsa, Oklahoma. May the 15th, Oakland, California. May the 16th, Los Angeles, California. If you want to host a book signing, reach out to the Prince of Pan-Africanism. You can order right now at DrUmarJohnson.com. The book will ship this week. But if you live in New Jersey, if you live in Delaware, if you live in Pennsylvania, come tomorrow to the book signing in Camden, New Jersey. Sunday, March the 21st from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock. It's free. Bring the children. You have any questions, talk to me, take a picture. I will sign your book. Tomorrow, South Jersey, La Unique Bookstore. Make sure you support the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Make sure you support the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Donate cash.me/$FDMG school. Cash.me/$FDMG school. Cash.me/$FDMG school. If you want the knowledge, I'm here to do it. I've dedicated my life to African children and African liberation. This is how I make my contribution to our people. Get on your PayPal and donate to the school. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Mail in your check or money order. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. Join the Loyal Donors Club at DrUmarJohnson.com. $50 a month, bronze donor to FDMG. $100 a month, silver donor to FDMG. $250 a month, gold donor to FDMG. $500 a month, platinum donor to FDMG. $1,000 a month, diamond donor to FDMG. Camden, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware. I will see y'all tomorrow. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism. If you need to reach me, 215-989-9858. If you need to reach me, 215-989-9858. Text messages only. Text messages only. Email DrUmarJohnson@yahoo.com. WhatsApp 215-989-9858 for all my international Africans. WhatsApp. Shout out to my brothers and sisters in Europe, my French Africans, my British Africans, my Austrian Africans, my Irish Africans, all my Africans in Europe, my Africans in Canada. I'm going to be coming to Toronto, Canada real soon. To my Africans in the Netherlands, my Haitian Africans, my Jamaican Africans. I heard that a couple of our Jamaican sisters were kidnapped in Jamaica. We can't have kidnapping on the island of Garvey in Marley. We cannot be having kidnapping on the island of Garvey in Marley. Protect the queens. Protect our children. Protect our daughters. They just found 16 black girls in Philadelphia today. They just found 16 black girls sex trafficked in Philadelphia today. We can't let our girls out at night by themselves. We can't let our women out at night by themselves. We have to unite. We have to unite. It is Pan-Africanism or perish, brothers and sisters. Okay? Resumes for the school, FDMG resumes at gmail.com, FDMG resumes at gmail.com.